Vikshata
Aste Dhuna Sarajashi
Aste Duna Sarajashi
Kauramendra Shriyolasam
Kauravendra Shriyolasan
Gajahvaye Mahabhagash
Gajavaye Mahabhagash
Chakravarti Brihatshabaham
Chakravarti Brihaschavaha
Saesha Etarhyadasta
Saesha Yadayadastha
Asanam Partivochitam
Asanam Pativochitam
Pitamaheno Panyastam
Pitamaheno Panyastam
Ragyaranyam Vidikshata
Rajnananyam Vivikshata
Aste Duna Sarajarshi
Aste Duna Sarajashi
Kauramendra Shriyolasam
Kauravendra Shriyolasan
Gajahvaye Mahabhagash
Gajavale Mahabhagash
Chakravarti Brihatshabha
Chakravarti Brihaschavaha
Deshikam Anyastam
Saresha Etavyasa
Asanam Partivochitam
Asanam Partivochitam
Kamaheno Panyastam
Pitamaheno Panyastam
Ragyaranyam Vivekshata
Rajnananyam Vivikshata
Aste Duna Sarajashi
Aste Duna Sarajashi Kauravendra Shriyolasan
Gajavaye Mahabhagash
Gajavaye Mahabhagash Chakravarti Brihaschava Saesha Etavyasta
Saesha Etavyasta
Asanam Partivochitam
Asanam Partivochitam
Pitamahena Panyastam
Pitamaheno Panyastam
Rajnanyam Vivikshata
Rajnaranyam Vivikshata
Aste Duna Sarajashi
Aste Duna Sarajashi
Kauravendra Shriyolasan
Kauravendra Shriyolasan
Gajavaye Mahabhagash
Gajavaye Mahabhagash
Chakravarti Brihaschava
Chakravarti Brihaschava
Saha
Saha
He
He
Eshaha
Eshaha
This Etarhi
Etarhi
at the present
at the present
Adhyasta
Adyaste
is ruling over
is ruling over
Asanam
Asanam
the throne
the throne
Partiva Uchitam
Partavalochitam
just befitting a king
just befitting a king
Pitamahena
Pitamahena
by the grandfather
by the grandfather
Upanyastam
Upanyastam
being handed over Rajna
Rajna
by the king
by the king
Aranyam forest Vivikshata desiring Aste is there Aduna at present Saha
that
Rajarishi the sage amongst the kings Kaurava Indra the chief amongst the Kuru kings
the chief amongst the Kuru kings
Shriya glorious
Ulasan
spreading Gajahvaye in Hastinapur
in Hastinapur
Mahabhaga most fortunate Chakravarti
Chakravarti
the emperor Brihatshabha
Brahmashavaha
highly famous
highly famous
Translation of Prabhu by His Divine Grace Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
The most fortunate emperor Maharaj Parikshit was entrusted with the kingdom of Hastinapura by Maharaja Yudhishthira when he desired to retire to the forest. is now ruling the world with great success due to his being glorified by the deeds of the kings of the Kuru dynasty. The prolonged sacrificial ceremonies undertaken by the sages of Naimisharanya were begun shortly after the demise of Maharaja Parikshit. The sacrifice was to continue for 1,000 years, and it is understood that in the beginning, some of the contemporaries of Baladeva, the elder brother of Lord Krishna, also visited sacrificial place. According to some authorities, the present tense is also used to indicate the nearest margin of time from the past. In that sense, the present tense is applied to the reign of Maharaj Parikshit here. For a continuous fact, also present tense can be used. The principles of Maharaja Parikshit can be still continued, and human society can still be improved if there is determination by the authorities. We can still purge out from the state all the activities of immorality introduced by the personality of Kali if we are determined to take action like Maharaj Parikshit. He allotted some place for Kali, but in fact Kali could not find such places in the world at all, because Maharaj Parikshit was strictly vigilant to see that there were no places for gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter. Modern administrators want to banish corruption from the state, but fools as they are, they do not know how to do it. They want to issue licenses for gambling houses, wine, and other intoxicating drug houses. Brothels, hotel prostitution, and cinema houses. And even these drug houses, now we have it everywhere. I've seen in Oregon, they have mushroom places. You have to take your ID, show it to them, sign some papers, and then you can take mushrooms. And it smells bad.
That's crazy.
And probably you have seen cannabis houses.
Yeah.
Cannabis.
Oh yeah.
And cinema houses, and falsity in every dealing, even in their own. And they want at the same time to drive out corruption from the state. They want the kingdom of God without God consciousness. How can it be possible to adjust two contradictory matters? If we want to drive out corruption from the state, we must first of all organize society to accept the principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. And to make conditions favorable, we must close all places of gambling, drinking, prostitution, and falsity. What would be falsity? Cheating?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These are some of the practical lessons from the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Omagyanatimirandasya Garanjana Shalakaya Chakshuramitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayamrupa Kadamahyam Darati Svapadambikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udava Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahajatam Sagana Gunatam Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarvyascha Kripa Sindhu Mevacha Paditanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishna Bhutale Shimante Tasvaminiti Name Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Vishesha Shanavadi Pashtatale Shatarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The most fortunate Emperor Maharaj Parikshit, who was entrusted with the kingdom of Hastinapur by Maharaja Yudhishthira, when he desired to retire to the forest, is now ruling the world with great success due to his being glorified by the deeds of the kings of the Kuru dynasty. Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, Yadya Dacharati Shreshtas Tattat Evetaro Janaha Sarat Brahmanam Kurute Lokas Tadanuvartate. Everyone follows leaders. Even we can see nowadays when people don't like leaders or they protest, but in many ways they're just, in many ways they're very similar to nowadays leaders in their own behavior. So Krishna's words, they're always true. And I think yesterday or the day before yesterday, I was listening to a class. Actually, it's not a class, it's a conversation, 2-hour conversation between His Holiness Bhakti-Vikas Swami and one devotee, Prabhupada's disciple. Yeah, who is a psychologist.
Vishnu Gada.
Yeah, Vishnu Gada. And this devotee, he joined in 70s, I believe. This devotee joined in the 70s. He was very active in Krishna consciousness, and then he went back to the college. He graduated psychology. I recommend everyone to kind of listen to this. It's very instructive, and it's kind of revealing, I would say, falsity of what's going on nowadays in this field of psychology. It's not that they are totally inefficient. In many ways, just talk therapy helps people to get over their addictions and mental disturbances. But there are many things, especially in medications, which are given to people. A lot of them are just based on placebo. It's a sugar candy. and some of these medicine, they just make some changes in your digestion. They're just trying to make any change in your life so you can kind of get off your how to say, mental troubles. Yeah, I think it was very instructive because he is really an authority. He's a practicing psychologist, so he's kind of demystifying that field. But at one point, this devotee, Vishnu Gada Prabhu, he was talking about the experiment which was done in Stanford. I believe that's very close to here. They had they even paid people like $100 in those days. It was kind of good money. And they would bring two people in separate rooms, and these rooms would be separated by the glass wall. So on the other side, they would be kind of, they would invite volunteers to have some kind of control panel in one. It would go one by one. So one person would be at the control panel, and on the other side of the glass wall, there would be another person who would be kind of like experimental rabbit. How do you call that in English?
Guinea pig.
Sorry?
Yeah, guinea pig.
Yeah. So another person would be sitting on the chair across the wall. So they made this experiment with a number of people, and next to the person with the control panel with his hands, there would be a person in white, like that suit which doctor. What is the name in English for that doctor's white suit?
Nothing. Yeah. Lab coat.
What's that?
Lab coat.
Lab coat. So on one side we have two persons, and the guinea would be on the other side. And the guinea, he couldn't see because it would, have that effect of a mirror. So actually, it was a trick. The guinea is not real. The experiment was not on the guinea.
What?
The experiment actually was not done on the guinea.
Guinea pig.
Yeah, it was done on the person who is at the control. So, person at control, he would have options to make some kind of electrical shock. So that's what he is being told.
Yeah.
So there would be smaller shocks, bigger, and he could increase the shocks. So the guy across the wall, he would pretend. Yeah. it's true story. And first it would kind of start with low voltage, like 10 volts, 20. And then the person at the control panel would continue. And, most people would feel embarrassed inflicting pain to others. But the authority or the person in the white coat, he would say, you can continue. This is important. This experiment is important. And
He's accepting the authority.
yeah,
Increase.
yeah. And what's interesting, at the end of this research, many people went through this. Results were kind of a little bit terrifying because it came out that most people, they went to the maximum. Although it was cheating because the guy on the other side, he would show more and more symptoms, suffering, even death, or at least fainting.
Wow, they would even to the point where they would fake being dead
Yeah,
or fainting. And
Yeah.
still he would.
yeah.
Wow.
And most people, they would just go through the whole process. So this is very interesting because it looks like if people are being told something by authorities, and if they would have discretion, which means it's in controlled environment. Then people are kind of have a tendency to do, they can do all kinds of nasty things to others. So that's very terrifying. It might be already the case, but we don't know. And this devotee, he also said that I think this experiment was done not like in modern times. Everyone is kind of, this from modern people you can expect anything. But this was like in 1960s, quite some time ago. And many people were actually laughing while they were controlling the pen, inflicting more pain to others. So it looks like that human beings, unless they have kind of very strong value system or some kind of ideology or purpose, they can do anything they want. This reminds me of the verse Yasya Deve Parabhaktir. No, not that one. It's the 5th canto, Rishabhadev. Yasyasti Bhakti Bhagavatya Kinchana Sarva Guna Samasate Sura Harova Bhaktasya Kudum Ahat Guna Manorathena Sati Davatamahi. It says that those who are not devoted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they don't have good qualities because they are riding the chariot of the mind.
Mm.
And that's the problem, because there's no ideals, or ideals are very base, and they can do anything. They don't know what is good, pravritim chand, nivritim chand. They don't know what is good, what is bad. And we can see in history of mankind, many people, let's say during the Holocaust, during the Second World War, many people in Germany, they were just kind of just letting it go, although they knew that something is happening to these people. I'm talking about ordinary people, probably also some soldiers, or most of them. They were just, okay, what to do? I'll just follow orders. It's coming from authority. So probably in Vietnam War, similar things. Yeah. So here we can see, now we are turning we want to see a bright example. I'm not saying there are no bright examples today, but they are usually more rare than before. And it's interesting that Prabhupada says in purport, the principles of Maharaj Parikshit can be still continued, and human society can still be improved if there is determination by the authorities. Just like our white coat person on Stanford, he was kind of very determined to to induce the guinea pig or pig, guinea pig, to induce him to just continue inflicting pain. And of course, there was no pain. But in real life, we can see that these things are happening very often. We can see slaughterhouses, in wars, in street criminal, in drug distribution. Everyone understands it inflicts suffering to others. It practically destroys kids' life. And but it's still continuing. People just say, well, what can be done? I must leave. Yeah. So Prabhupada here says principles of Maharaj Parikshit can be applied even today, which means uprooting sinful activities which are causing suffering. In this example, we had electricity, but actually excessive sense gratification, it causes suffering. And it's not just going to hell after death. It's Prabhupada explains this in Nectar of Instructions. Aviroda Priti, too much attraction for sense gratification, very strong attachment for sense gratification results in Nirodha Yukta Krodha. that's in Nectar of Instructions, verse 1. So excessive attachment for sense gratification, it results in krodha, anger coming from disappointment. And we can see nowadays in West, especially Europe, America, anger. So anger is coming from unfulfilled material desires. So somebody can say, okay, then let us just fulfill them. But that's practically impossible, because as soon as we fulfill one desire, in our heart, 3 more are sprouting. So this whole idea that we are the bodies and this is the only life ever, this our existence of our individual, this is your only chance to achieve something. And since you are the body and you are going to die, what are you going to achieve? It's simply nunam pramata kurute vikarma, means you go crazy about sense gratification. Because if you think you are going to perish, what are you going to do in the meantime? Let's say most people, they leave their bodies in maybe 70s, 80s. So if somebody thinks, I'm 20 now, so why should I restrain myself? Let me just go for it, because after I'll be gone. I won't exist anymore. So this kind of apparently just some outdated, old-fashioned religious dogma. How most people, when they hear devotees or pretty much anyone else deriding the process of sense gratification or finding fault with it, it's most people, they don't appreciate it. They think something is wrong, but you're just too much frustrated. You should just take a pill and just calm down and just enjoy life. But actually our life is not meant for enjoyment. Karmasya nendriya priti lando jivatayavata. The whole idea, jivasya tattva jigyasya, we are supposed to inquire about what is the absolute truth, what is the purpose of life, what am I going to do with my consciousness, which is the most important part of what we think we are. So principles of government are enforced with determination, because most people, people like to have more enjoyment and less responsibilities. That's why there has to be some government. That's why when we walk on the street, we want to cross the lights as pedestrians. Everyone stops, especially in America.
Yeah.
I've seen in Europe, not so much. But in America, everyone stops because...
Except in New York City.
At least in California.
Yeah.
I was surprised how, even if you just move your foot a little bit, everyone just stops. It's like 3 lines, everyone stops on the spot. And why is that? Because if something happens, they're going to have to pay a lot. Or because they can end up in court. So there has to be some determination or inflicting punishment, like Krishna in Bhagavad Gita also says, among the means of, how do you say that? In English, I don't remember exact quote, but Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says that he's
the correction and punishment.
Yeah. Amongst the means to stop illegal activities and the punishment. So punishment has to be there, not for making people suffer, but to give them some direction in life. And it can be financial, it can be maybe even corporal in some cases. As far as I know, in America still there is corporal. Yeah. And some people, they do really nasty things to others. So, and in many ways, values in nowadays society are not really according to spiritual principles of Srimad Bhagavatam and the Vedas. But it could change drastically. It could change drastically if government adopts these principles of truthfulness, cleanliness, compassion. What is the austerity? Yeah, these 4. So if government would start enforcing these, and that enforcement doesn't mean that policemen, they need to kind of shoot people around. Usually we can see in Vedic society, law and order is maintained by Kshatriyas and Brahmins, by these 2 classes. Kshatriyas, they of course, how do you call that? Do that social engineering, civil engineering. That's Kshatriya's job, to make sure that people have, venues and ways to live, to prosper, to avoid trouble. So that's Kshatriya's job. And on the other side, as advisors and teachers, Brahmanas are there. And so if government, through their authorities, or their means, which is kind of law enforcement, police, and on the other hand, because, for them, it would be media, like TV, news, probably internet nowadays, and Instagram. If they would kind of ban pornography completely, they call it adult content. If you're adult, you can just go for it. But they don't know how much troubles is that producing, because lust, the more you feed it, it becomes more. And if the government uses media, starts using media to propagate spiritual values of cleanliness, truthfulness, compassion, and austerity, knowledge, detachment, good examples, character. Pretty much that's what all all scriptures of the world are propagating. Quran, Bible, Torah, Vedic scriptures. So it looks like that's what governments should do. They should propagate these like good examples. But nowadays we can see how in movies and art, very often like serial killers and all kinds of anti-heroes, they become heroes. And they are kind of, let's take a different view on this personality. How actually, there was a history to his madness, and actually he also has good sides, but he also kills some people, and so actually, but propagating spiritual principles, moral values through media, through education, the face of the earth could be changed within 1 year. Everything could be kind of restored, because I believe Prabhupada used that aphorism: monkey see, monkey do. So if we show to monkeys some good things, they will start imitating it. Our planet of monkeys. Propagating chastity, proper dress, especially, nowadays people like to be free, but if you ask any parent, whoever has children, would you like your son or daughter to walk like this in the street? Most of them still, they would say no. Why not? Everyone is free. Well, there's a reason for it. So therefore, government and authority, they should be well-wishing parents. They should take care of their prajas, their subordinates, in a loving way and compassionate way, and giving them the best things. And actually that's what King Parikshit did. There's also very nice verse that's also Rishabh in the 5th canto. Maybe some of you know that verse. So a person is actually, if somebody sees a blind man going to the kind of cliff to fall down, and if he doesn't do anything, he is actually punishable or condemnable. So that's why parents and authorities, they should keep giving good instructions, even if their followers or sons or disciples or people in general are not ready to follow. Still, there should be constant, because it's like how do you call that light on the sea? Lighthouses has to be there. Nowadays, lighthouse is misdirecting people. Lighthouses are practically media, and people are getting mixed concepts of good and bad, without any higher purpose. So to discriminate between good and bad, it's not so easy thing. Because ways of Dharma, as we know from scriptures, are very mysterious. Sometimes, Dharma, something which is considered dharmic or very good in certain circumstances is bad. An example, I believe in Bhagavatam and other scriptures, is given of a yogi where dacoits were chasing after some people, and they asked a yogi who was kind of, very truthful. Where did these people go? We are looking for them. And he said, yeah, they just went there. So the yogi pointed these dacoits, and these dacoits went and killed those people. So to understand what is Dharma, what is the ultimate Dharma, what is the purpose of life, what is love of God, that's also, these are topics to be discussed. Is there consciousness? Is there life after death? National Geographic, they should be discussing these topics. And actually, sometimes I believe they do, but it's just for entertainment. But if these topics would, who are you? Are you the soul? Consciousness. What about near-death experiences? Remembering past life. These things are important. Otherwise, people have no other choice. Presenting sense gratification as the goal of life is cannot produce peace in society. They like peace and order, but you cannot have peace if prostitution, intoxication, animal killing is so much legalized. These activities in themselves, they are creating disturbances and so many bad effects in society. So I would like to stop here. Are there any questions or comments?
In the 11th chapter of the Bhagavatam, we see that when Krishna was the king of Dwarka, there were actually prostitutes. Actually, the verse says there were hundreds of prostitutes who came to greet him. And now we're seeing that in Parikshit Maharaj's kingdom, none of these existed. But Krishna is the ultimate, like you said, what standards a great man sets, smaller men follow.
Yeah.
And Krishna is supposed to be the highest of standards. Yet we see that even in his kingdom, there were prostitutes living, and it was not underground, they were out in the open.
Yeah, it was legal.
It was legal, so.
But it was controlled. It was limited to a certain, you can say, yeah, it was less. It was not publicly promoted.
Mm-hmm.
And it was there, but it was not enjoined. It's like if definition of Dharma is too strict, then people won't be able to follow it. Then the purpose of Dharma will be lost. And the purpose of Dharma is to uplift people. So if it's very loose, if everyone can do whatever they like anytime, then also, so there's a venue for these natural propensities that's described in the scriptures. Meat eating, intoxication, illicit sex, and gambling are natural propensities for human beings. But there's a great benefit in restraining from those. So that's why Prabhupada, of course, we get the idea that there were no prostitutes, as you said. If we read this King Parikshit uprooted everything. Most probably they were there, but they were like very rare cases of it. Just like if you compare prostitutes in Dwarka, you said 100. How many people lived in Dwarka?
A lot.
There's a number of just Gurukula teachers for the Yadu dynasty children in Srimad Bhagavatam. And that number is, I forgot now the numbers.
Millions.
Yeah, like, so if you compare, you understand, millions of people with 100 prostitutes, that's nothing. Yeah. And nowadays we can see practically it's legal. There are how do they call them, dating sites?
Yeah.
And it's illegal, and people can just find so-called matches and just have fun.
Yeah.
And it's among students, it's amongst people above 50, above 70, above 80, most probably.
Dog sniffing.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yeah. So these things are going. That's the difference, because if Dharma is too strict, then underground activities will flourish. That's why government has to have some kind of how do you call that?
Leniency.
A little bit, because what can you do? What can you do? Just like parents, they wouldn't like that their son takes drugs and goes crazy every weekend. They would like him to be a nice person, but they cannot kill him. They even kind of pay for his madness and try to help. That's not the idea, but there should be some restriction. And actually, so duty of government is to give it. Even when we read which canto is that? Srimad Bhagavatam. Well, King Prithu. Yes, fourth canto. We can see how King Prithu arranged that all classes of human beings practically on Earth would get what they need. Demons, they would get wine and other stuff. The regular human beings, they would get food and grains. So in one sense, it's, what can you do? I mean, Krishna even arranges for wild predators in the forest to have their food. So Krishna is arranging for that. So, as I said, Dharma shouldn't be impossible to follow, because it's not that everyone will be a rishi, a yogi. Rishis and yogis should be glorified and worshipped in society, and society should take instructions from them. But of course, there will be transgressions. There will be some kind of illicit activities. It's even in scriptures. Practically in every canto, I believe some prostitute is mentioned, or there's something interlinked. So it means they were there. But government would make sure that it's not that whole population, especially young people, students, they all become like just doing all kinds of nonsense, and on a regular basis. That was not there. So, is that clear? So, I personally, I don't see it that Maharaj Parikshit stopped prostitution completely. Nashtapraya Shabadrish. Nashtapraya almost completely destroyed by hearing and chanting about Krishna. So when it's almost completely destroyed, anarthas, it means you can operate as a spiritual person. You can operate on a spiritual level by following instructions of the spiritual master. So you can attain perfection of further advance in spiritual life in such a way. So it's, I would say, unrealistic that all people, because people have their backgrounds, will take up the highest dharma immediately, and that most people will follow even general social Vedic rules. It's not possible. That's why in Vedic society, meat eating, there is some kind of option for that. Yeah. Could worship Kali, for once or twice a month, something. So if you're Kshatriya, you can do gambling, but then if you're Kshatriya, when you go into the battlefield, you cannot run away. You cannot desert the battlefield. So you just go for it. You have some facilities for gambling, for meat eating, even for, promiscuity maybe. But when there's war, you should be first in the line. And you should just go for it. So who is going to do it? How many people? Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
okay. Let's stop here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Is this one?